The movies. Loose slots. I'm gonna get that on video. Who is it?
Southern plateaus surrounding the Grand Canyon. It is called Chubbuck's Plateau, named after the Chubbuck's Indians who lived here many years ago. You'll notice a change in the vegetation of the lower desert. The plateau is considered a desert, but it is what we call high desert. The trees you see below are juniper and pinyon pine. These trees will average 20 to 30 feet at maturity. The clearings you see as squares came from the cutting of these trees. As we fly over this plateau, you will also notice a number of roads, corrals, fences, and other signs of man. In the 1950s, Utah ranchers were allowed to bring their cattle here in the spring and let them graze all summer. While the river itself remains cool at around 55 degrees. Cinder cones. Ahead on the left of the inner gorge is a volcanic cinder cone called Vulcan's Throne. When the lava came out of Vulcan's Throne, it flowed into the inner gorge and formed a natural dam 500 feet high. This occurred about 800,000 years ago. The river eventually wore this dam away after 200 years, but left one of the worst rapids on the Colorado River. It is called Lava Falls Rapids. At the rapids, the river is 300 feet wide and drops 57 feet, producing waves that are 12 feet high. Scientists say that somewhere around 6 to 10 million years ago, erosion began to create the Grand Canyon. A good example of nature's erosive powers is the rock formation coming up on our left. It was named Shiprock because it looks like a ship setting in the water. Notice that the rock formations on Shiprock match either side of the canyon, proof that at one time this canyon never existed. Geologists just don't know why Shiprock was left standing while everything else was eroded away. We will be leaving the main part of the canyon for a few minutes to fly into a side canyon called Supai. This side canyon is unique in the fact that it is the only permanently inhabited place in the Grand Canyon and has been for over 800 years by the Havasupai Indians. As we fly into the side canyon, there's a butte-like shiprock on your left called Mount Sanyala, which is sacred to the Indians. They believe it contains spirits that guard the entrance to their canyon. Artesian springs supply water for Havasu Creek. The creek flows down from the village to the Colorado River and creates a series of spectacular waterfalls. On the right side above the waterfalls, you can see some of the Indian village. The houses are fairly modern and were provided by the government for thousands of years. Comparatively recent immigrants, the Pai, Paiute, and Navajo Indians arrived in the region during the past 7 centuries. The earliest and most famous culture was known as the Anasazi, or Ancient Ones. They first began occupying the floor of the Grand Canyon around 800 AD and remained until approximately 1150, when the canyon was completely abandoned due to persistent drought. It is thought that the river may have completely dried up at this point. Modern-day Indians that inhabit the Grand Canyon region are ancestors of the Anasazi. They include the Hopi, Wallapai, Havasupai, and Navajo. The primary agent that has sculpted and eroded the canyon is water.
I can see Amy, and he's walking there, and he's looking at the sign, and he's taking his head away from it. Oh my god, hey, I can do this for free. Wait, move on my quickly. No, it's for the photo. Guys, they don't take you. They don't. It's only people.
Oh, it does wonders.
Every bit's on tape. Shame.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Take out the salad.
Look at that. Oh, we
Yeah, look at that.
Ces couleurs, attention Fabrice.
John Morgan on the jet.
Our nice and water now.
View from the Golden Nugget.
That's that. Pretty big, that's the only thing. Said you want them to think that you got a fixture.
Not really. I'm not trying to feel proud of you. That's because I'm cooking. So, yeah. Time out under the table.
You did explain what we're doing.
We're eating.
Why we're eating with our fingers.
Because Mum and Dad are tasting it, so they told us to.
Yeah. Barbecue ribs.
I think it's enough. You can stop now.
I think there was a group of people walking down the aisle with a suit.
I saw you, they didn't see us. It's okay. They're related to you.
This fits them alright.
So you want that?
Huh?
And get Blair one as well because he wants it. Because he wants
Do you
one.
know the face in the envelope?
Oh, okay. Oh,
I'm sorry. Are you halfway through your going? don't you, look, you look in the mirror, don't you kids like them sloppier than that?
Well, no one really has one like big bulky. That's what they do with the t-shirt. Like this.
Yeah, same it.
They have the t-shirts big, and they have the singlets. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Not too tight, not too baggy, because baggy singlets on most people.
Mr. Matthews, you're up.
Yeah.
Actually, my parents are on their way out there. Walk up here to have a good time.
That's a bold face sign. That's how you feel like doing your thing tonight.
Look, Mr. Sweeney, before
Well, the mum's on the toilet
what I
anyway.
just call our parents. Bed to there.
Gold plated toilet. Oops, oops, oh.
Bev. Bev. Hi.
Okay, bye. Really confused. What are you doing?
Folks, we're now standing about 750 feet down inside Black Canyon. If you turn around and look back behind us, you can see Hoover Dam rising 726 feet top to bottom. Across the top, from Arizona to Nevada, it's 1,244 feet. Just on the other side of the big concrete wall is a wall of water, 480 feet deep, known as Lake Mead. And if you look to the top of the dam, you'll see some smaller towers. Just about at the base of the towers is where the lake level rises to, just on the other side. Hope that big plug holds. You'll look across the river, and to your left, down the ramp, you'll see a tunnel, and that's the portal tunnel. It was dug and blasted during the building of the dam to allow vehicle access down to the construction site. It's still used today. Up above the tunnel is a big concrete building with 6 portholes in it. That's the upper valve house. And they're no longer used today, though you can see them here at the visitor center of the movie. Right at the end of the movie, you'll see big jets of water blasting out from the walls of the canyon. That's where the water's coming from. Up at the top of the canyon is the overhead cable crane. This one has a lifting capacity of 150 tons. And there were as many as 10 of them stretched across the top of the canyon during the building of the dam, floor down the generators, buckets of concrete, anything big and heavy. Looking front, across from us, you'll see those big metal boxes. Those are transformers. What the transformers do is they increase the voltage of the electricity from 60.
You would do that.
Imagine a roller coaster going straight down.
I'd go on it. Why?
No, it's impossible to do that.
No point taking a photo. You must think you are a
You'll be bloody going like that in a minute. There'll be another one of these successful suicide attempts.
Ah, dear.
God, you can look at the bloody food.
haven't had a lot of breakfast.
They have had donuts and things.
Two donuts.
Two tiny donuts. Wow, that's enough to make me.
We might as well walk up to that property and walk back along that side. Why?
We've got to cross over.
Yeah, I can find it.
Boys, down. Good.
Vivo.
There's such earthy toilets.
Vivo. Vivo.
You want me to help you? Could you throw me off? Don't get in his picture. Oh. Oh, Daddy.
Everyone knows now.
There is Full House on your left. Let's see if we got any kind of a view of the city from here. It's so darn foggy today. But this is typical summer weather in San Francisco, as many of you may already know. Yeah, the downtown area is very foggy and also. Yes, San Francisco, ladies and gentlemen, is a very, very populated city with over 16 ethnic groups of people all living in one small little area. Sit at the very tip of a peninsula, San Francisco Bay. Covers San Francisco, where many of the houses share the same style of architecture back in the 1800s.
And the owners of these houses wanted to distinguish their particular house in some way, and they chose to paint their house in beautiful colors, giving it its own unique characteristics, because so many of the houses share the same style of architecture. So these are some examples of the beautiful painted ladies of San Francisco. Now you'll find these beautiful houses throughout the city. And coming up on your right side here, San Francisco, to build a park here. Now, Henry Law Olmsted designed New York's Central Park. He was asked to come to San Francisco. The park's first engineer, William Hammond Hall, began to anchor the shifting sand by using different types of grasses that he found around the world that would anchor that shifting sand. Later, the park was taken over by there was another gentleman that began planting the trees throughout the park. Trying to think what his name was. I know it's on the tip of my tongue. John McLaren. John McLaren began planting trees and shrubs from all over the world into Golden Gate. The area to your right was once known as Fun World. This is a beautiful fairground area. This is a large carnival type area here. Roller coaster rides, various other rides that existed out here in the area known as Fun World. Purchased that property for only $500 and gave it to the city. John Geary, the first mayor of the city. A master engineer that put this bridge together. And the main span is 4,200 feet. That's between the two towers just up ahead. The entire bridge is 1.7 miles in length. Oftentimes people enjoy riding their bicycles or walking across the beautiful Golden Gate. It's a suspension bridge and it was built to swing and sway with the strong winds that do occur here in San Francisco. This bridge has been known to swing as much as 24 feet off center. That's right, 24 feet this bridge has swung off center. It's held up by these cables you see here. These two large cables coming down almost to the deck level. These cables are 36 3/8 inches in diameter. And inside each one, you're going to find 27,579 quarter-inch cable wires. And all of those wires are over a mile long. They strung them up 2 by 2 from either side. They had to string them up like that because the wires were so heavy, they could not do it any other way. So they had pulleys pulling these wires.
$10.
Fletcher, $10, Fletcher, $10. Sits on top of that landfill because this entire area was the fairground for the Panama Pacific Exposition in 1915. So when they tore down all of those palaces they had built, and around the 1920s and 30s, they started to build this neighborhood up. It was first settled by the Italians and the Russians. They were the first to move into the neighborhood. These houses average about $1 million each. And in the 1989 earthquake, this was the hardest hit part of San Francisco. Many of these $1 million homes were literally shaken off of their foundations because they weren't properly tied down to the foundation. They were literally shaken off of their foundation. This is where most of the devastation and damage occurred in San Francisco on your left side in the Marina District. Much of the rest of the city was pretty much Lombard Street. Gets the name Motel Row because you'll find many motels and hotels existing on the street, and apartment buildings here in the city were converted into hotels and motels, particularly here along Lombard Street, and that's why the area gets the name Motel Row. Nearly 60 or 70 hotels and motels exist here. Also many fine restaurants. You have Burmese, Chinese, Italian, French, German, Persian, Russian, Thai, Indian, Mexican, Czechoslovakian. All sorts of fine delicacies and dishes can be found here in the many restaurants along Lombard. Now, this beautiful neighborhood to your right, known as Cow Hollow. Back in the 1800s, around 1878 also, this is where most of San Francisco's grazing cattle was located. This is premier grazing pasture for the dairy cows. Now, restaurants and shops, various boutiques exist here. The interesting thing about these shops on Union Streets and restaurants, so as we tour down beautiful Union Street here, you'll notice on the lower levels of these buildings, these old Victorians have all been turned into commercial businesses, and the upstairs are still being used as residences or apartments. This is a very popular area, particularly on the weekends too, because it's known for the mature bar scene. There's a number of bars located out here that the many young people